Got another dripper for you, and boy, she is an oldie, but she sure is a goodie. And the RDA I'm going to be talking about today is the Forge RDA by MCV Philippines. And what I mean by this thing is an oldie, she is a freaking oldie. She was produced nearly 2 years ago. 2 years ago, right before the Atomic RDA. And for those of you guys who do not know what the Atomic RDA is, I mean, she was another kick-ass dripper made by the same guys. But what happened was, this thing was produced in mid-2013, and she just never caught on. Never became popular. I guess they just stopped making it, and they went on to the Atomic RDA, which became huge. But they decided to come back out with this sucker this year, and I'm glad they did. I never used it before. I just used the Atomic and loved it. But when they came out with this, and I got my hands on it this year, holy cow. Woo! Shit turd bomb! I mean, this thing is killer. It's killer for the devices, you know, the smaller devices like the iStick, the IPV minis, the Cloudpore minis, all the smaller devices that only vape up to 30 watts max, 20 watts max. I mean, it's great for those type of regulated mods. And let me tell you why, because this thing is tiny, man. This is like the Mighty Mouse of RDAs. Smallest deck I've ever used, smallest chamber I've ever used out of an RDA. I mean, it's smaller than the Atomic. This thing is marketed as being 19 millimeters in diameter. I actually measured it with my calipers, 18 millimeters in diameter. Like I said, the chamber's tiny, the deck is tiny. You can run this thing in single or dual coils, but really, you don't need dual coil. Dual coil will blow your ass out of the water. And I mean, she packs a freaking punch, baby. Packs a punch at lower wattages. So I got this Forge RDA sitting on this iStick. I'm vaping her at 16.5 watts. Got a 1.5 ohm single coil build using 28 gauge Kanthal. And I mean, look at her. She's sitting on the iStick. There she is. It's a beaut. It fits perfect. She's nice and tiny. Nice and tiny, baby. And that's what I like about her. And that's what a lot of other vapors are going to like about her, too. Especially the ones that like to use these small devices and go stealth mode. Whew. She's spitting out the flavor, spitting it out. Like I said, this thing is like the Mighty Mouse of RDAs. Compact, at 16.5 watts. It's killing it. It's killing it! I'm going to take her to 18.5 watts. Oh man, it just gets warmer and warmer. Woo! More fulfillment. Now I'm going to go ahead and take her up to 20 watts. Vapor production is not that much more, to be honest with you, than it was at 16.5 or even 18.5 watts. But this is not a vapor freaking chucking cloud RDA. It's not a cloud chucking RDA. It's not for the cloud chasers. It's for the flavor chasers. Now I got this Forge RDA on this IPV Mini. IPV Mini vapor at 23 watts. Oh yeah, and for all the pulls that you see me do thus far, I've had the airflow wide open in single coil mode, and wide open for this dripper is 3 millimeters. But yeah, at 23 watts, I mean, the vapor production, you obviously get more vapor production. It's nothing like a Cloud Chaser Addy. Flavor's really good at 23 watts. I mean, it's a hotter flavor. You know, like I said, 15 to 20 watts is my preferred. So you know what? I think it's about time we dive down and see this thing close up, broken apart, show you all the pieces, how they go back together, show you the deck, the chamber, all that good stuff. You ready? Let's go. Here's the Forge RDA all broken down. You've got the deck, you've got the inner sleeve, and then you've got the outer sleeve top cap. And here's the deck for this device. I mean, it is tiny. Smallest deck that I've used to date. Slightly smaller than the Atomic RDA, and that thing was tiny. You got a 3-post design. Post holes are about 1 millimeter in diameter, and you got those Phillips head screws which tighten down to make a connection with all your leads. You got this single O-ring to fasten down the top cap, and then down here, you got your 510 threads. Okay, and then down here, you get your stainless steel pin. Here's the inner sleeve for this device. Okay, hole sizes. Okay, largest hole to smallest hole. This is the 3 millimeter hole. Then you got the 2 millimeter hole. Then you got the 1.5 millimeter hole. And you can run this thing in dual coil or single coil mode. Single O-ring to fasten on the top cap. And then here's the inside of this inner sleeve. Here's the outer sleeve slash top cap. As you guys can see, you get the Forge logo, and then underneath that it says MCV Philippines by MCV Philippines. Here are these nice lines, and then at the top you've got this nice bevel, drip tip hole. You got 3 air holes on this top cap. You got 1, 2, and then 3. The 2 that are parallel are for your dual coils, and then the one that is perpendicular that has the other side blocked off is for your single coils. Adjustable airflow time, so we're going to go ahead and fit the top cap over the inner sleeve like so. Slides right over. Right now, we're running the smallest air hole mode in dual coil mode. You got the 1.5 millimeter, as you guys can see, they're parallel. Turn it. 2 millimeter parallel. Turn it. 3 millimeter parallel. And then if you want to run this thing in single coil mode, all you do is turn to the hole that's blocked off, that's perpendicular, and just twist. That's 2 millimeter air hole mode, single coil. Twist again. 3 millimeter air hole mode, single coil, and then the smallest 1.5 millimeter in single coil. What you're going to want to do from there is have your coil built, coil installed, wick installed, pop your top cap on there, and make sure that the air hole that you're using is in front of that coil. Boom. And of course you got to pop the drip tip in that you prefer. So that is the Forge RDA by MCV Philippines. Now a few specs for you. This thing is made of 304 grade stainless steel, and it is also marketed as being 19 millimeters in diameter. I actually measured it with calipers, and it measured out to be 18 millimeters. Oh yeah, and the height of this RDA is 25 millimeters without the drip tip or any drip tip in this sucker. So that right there is the Forge RDA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. So you know what I did? I went ahead and closed off that 3 millimeter air hole about halfway. Here we go. Flavor jumps, man. I mean, it really jumps, obviously. In any RDA, when you restrict the airflow, flavor is gonna jump. But yeah, that 3 millimeter air hole, I mean, wide open, it is deceptive. Because the chamber's so small and you've got just, limited room to do your build and place your cotton, you're gonna get a tight airflow. It's not gonna be like a massive amount of airflow. So, like I said, for the cloud chasers, this is not for you. First, the pros, okay? First pro, price point for this device, $69.99. To me, anything below $100 for a high-end RDA, you're getting a good deal. Second, I love the size of this device. I mean, this thing is tiny, tiny, tiny. Love the size of the deck. It's great for flavor. Another thing that this thing's great for is vaping at lower wattages. Vaping at lower wattages is what makes this device what it is. Because the chamber is so small, you could vape, 20 watts, 15 watts, and still get a hellacious vape. Love the tolerances of the airflow control. Actually, I really like this airflow control. It's just easy to work with. It's easy to take the top cap off, to take everything apart, disassemble it, put it back together, and it's just restrictive enough to do the airflow, to adjust to what you want, where you want it. This RDA has been compatible with all my mechanical mods, variable voltage, variable wattage devices, screwed down all the way, made a connection, sat down flush, baby. Love how this device gives you an option to run this thing in either dual coil or single coil mode, and I love my single coil mode, you guys know that. Every drip tip that I've owned or used for this device has been compatible. Also, the stainless steel pin to the 510 connection is adjustable, so you can adjust and make connection with all your devices you screw it on. Now there are some subjective cons, and one subjective con is this thing is tiny. For the guys that want room to build on, you cloud chasers out there, the guys that want more airflow, you're not going to like this. Also, for the vapors who prefer to use the 22 millimeter mech mods, you're probably not going to want to use this because this thing is not going to be flush by any means. Rating this sucker from a 1 to 10 scale as far as machining, quality control, etc., I give this a 7 out of a 10. 7 out of a 10. I mean, it's above average, pretty darn good. There was a few scratches as you guys saw in the close-ups, but it wasn't anything major. But as far as machine oil was a bitch. When I first received this, I mean, I had to clean it 2 or 3 times to get it out. And I hate to stereotype this, but the Filipinos, this is a Filipino product. Every Filipino device that I've received has loads of machine oil on it. It just means you guys have low standards, or you're just unsanitary. I don't get it. I mean, clean your freaking product. Quit being lazy asses and clean your shit, okay? Do it for the consumer. Do it for the vendors that are paying you. Come on. You guys should take more pride in your own product. So the online vape shop I received this bad boy from is a shop by the name of Vape Happy, bvapehappy.com. I'll have a link in the description. And like I mentioned, they're selling this bad boy for $69.99. Here's the big question, the big answer. If I'd have lost this thing today, would I go back tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is definitely, and the reason is because this thing is the tits, man. It is. I mean, it's small, compact, it's the Mighty Mouse of RDAs. It fits great on the iStick, great on the IPV Mini, great on even the smaller devices. There's a lot of smaller devices coming out, and this thing performs great at lower wattages, so hell yeah, hell yeah. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.